Well, good morning. It's Dan Harris. I'm a beekeeper. If you've followed any of my previous videos on swarm traps, you might recognize this location. This is the tree house where I have 4 swarm traps. It's May 27th. And I've gotten a swarm in this. I did do a recording of some video, some footage from when I first found it. It was a nice big swarm, which was really surprising for this late in the season. I'm going to take a look, see how they're doing. I have so far given them a half gallon of syrup each day, which has disappeared. I believe they'd take a gallon a day if I gave it to them. So I got to figure out what to do with these. Our nectar flow, our real nectar flow season is truly waning. Probably, we're probably getting nectar yet, but not on any scale that would constitute a flow. So if this new swarm, if I threw it in one of my yards nearby, I'm going to feed the daylights out of it, or it won't survive. It probably wouldn't survive the summer. It's a big swarm, but there's just nothing for them to eat. We're going to take a look, see how they're doing after having given them a gallon of syrup over the past couple days. I'll give them another half gallon today, and I'll decide as best I can what to do. Ideally, I was thinking I'd like to take them up to my North Carolina mountain bee yard, where we still have several weeks of a nectar flow, or should have several weeks of a springtime nectar flow. And I could take them up there. I've got space for one more hive, so I could put them there. And between now and the end of that nectar flow, they probably would build a nest out, get it all provisioned, and heck, I might even get a sourwood surplus from them. The irony for me is that there's a tropical storm moving up into the Gulf, going to hit the somewhere down around the panhandle of Florida. It looks like tomorrow. We're going to get, of course, almost surely outer bands of rain from that. The river is currently, that I have to cross, that I have to ford, is already higher than I'm comfortable with, and so it's likely to go even higher, and I don't know how long it's going to stay high. So I really am in a quandary as to what I'm going to do. But before I do anything, I want to look and see what they've done with that gallon of syrup I've given them over the past couple days, and maybe jumping the gun, but we'll see. And before I pop the top, for those of you who might have watched my original swarm trap video, and for those who haven't, I'll tell you, I basically have 4 swarm traps up here. It's a tree house, 10-12 feet off the ground, doubles as swarm trap platform in early spring, when my grandchildren and my nieces and nephews' children come during the summer, which they'll be doing the end of June. I've removed the swarm traps. It becomes a tree house. This year I've put 4 traps up here. I baited them alternately between lemongrass oil and swarm commander. This late swarm, and it may not be the last, but this is certainly going to be one of the last, is number 8, the 8th swarm I've caught up here. And you'll probably find it interesting that the breakdown between swarm commander and lemongrass oil is 50-50, a 4 of each. So obviously I don't have enough data here to have a peer-reviewed publication. Actually, I probably could, because peers for me would just be other random beekeepers, but not anything that would get published anywhere in a peer-reviewed journal. Just not enough data, but enough to convince me that I probably stick with lemongrass oil. I do like the little spritzy bottle that comes with the swarm commander, but for the extra 20 or 30 bucks, I can live without a spritzy bottle. Anyway, pop the top on this, see how they're doing, and then when I do finally decide how I'm going to move these and where to, depending on the weather. You know, I'll do some kind of update on that. But anyway, let's pop the top. If you saw my video from a couple days ago when I found them, I wasn't even certain that there was a swarm in this box. It reminded me a lot of that hive at the barn that on the outside looked like there was a swarm in it, but turned out just to be a couple hundred bees that took up residence, and they're still there, by the way. I don't know. Let's put this smoker over here where I can get to it if they're in a snit today. It's overcast. Have high hopes. Oh yeah, that's just pour out what little syrup is left in that thing. A lot of bees. I see them all the way up here at the top. Doesn't mean much, but you know, a lot of bees is always a good start in this swarm. This was a really big swarm. I was surprised. I truly was surprised at the size of this swarm for it being as late in the season as it was. Ordinarily, when I start getting late in the season, I'm seeing more secondary swarms. But they're drawn out. Even the outermost frames are getting drawn out. This is. I'm going to pull one more frame just because. Oh, okay. Phew. I didn't really want that to happen. Right on the end of my finger too. Whew. Whew. My own fault. Oh, I look down and I see just as many bees in that bottom box as I do in the top. I'm here to tell you, these bees, I said this last year about a swarm, so at the risk of repeating myself, these bees have drawn that out. These bees are the bee's knees. Said the same thing last year about a swarm that I got up here, and it just is. These are looking grand. So I'll give them another half gallon till I decide. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to look any further. There's no point agitating them today. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's the queen, and you might note the yellow dot on her back, which suggests pretty strongly that she probably came from one of my hives. You know, unless somebody else around has got some more queens. I know there is a queen breeder a few miles down the road, has some hives probably, if I had to guess, 3 miles or so down the road, and I'm sure, you know, she's got more queens in hers, so it's always a possibility that I picked up one of hers, because I didn't see any swarm this size in my yard leading up to catching this, which doesn't mean a lot. You know, a lot of them go unnoticed if I don't happen to be around the house. And in the yard when they swarm, a lot of times I don't see them. Just the way it is. Anyway, we're going to feed them a little bit more. And if that river does not rise too much, I'll try to get these out to that bee yard first of the week. And if not, maybe later in the week. And if not, maybe somewhere nearby. I just, I don't want to. No, I know I saw a swarm. I know I saw a small hive beetle. I'm sure I did. I thought, but he got away, she got away, it got away. If nothing else, it's going to be a big season for small hive beetles this year. All this rain, as much as I love the rain, and I do, it's been years since we had such a nice, relatively cool, wet spring. We usually by now are already weeks into what ultimately becomes a drought, and we aren't even. We are in great shape. I love it. But it comes at a price, and small hive beetles are one of those prices. Anyway, we'll figure out what to do next soon. Thanks for watching.